Hello once again. This is day 3 of our time together. And I've been told that I have to be a little more silly, so I don't know how that helps the story, but there it is. That's all the silly I've got in me. But day 3 is from the stories from the New Testament, Luke chapter 10. Jesus is traveling. He's attracting attention. And he's trying to break down barriers. That's enough silliness, I think. He's trying to break down barriers. He's trying to convince the people around him in Israel that God's compassion, God's love, is for everyone. Not just this group or that group, these people or that people, but for all groups and all people. God's compassion working through us also should be for all people. So, someone who had studied all of God's laws came to Jesus with a question. Teacher, he said, what do I need to do to know the fullness of life forever? Jesus answered the question with another question. You're an expert. You studied. What have you learned? What do the books say? And the man answered, they say to love with all that we have and all that we are, to love God with our whole heart, our whole strength, our entire souls, and with all our thoughts and all our wonderings, and to love also our neighbor with the same kind of care we show to ourselves. So Jesus says, that's right. Love like that, and you'll know the fullest life imaginable. But wait, the man said, who counts as my neighbor? Who should I consider to be my neighbor? To answer his question, Jesus told a story. A traveler was on his way from Jerusalem to Jericho when thieves attacked him. They beat him up, took his clothes, took all of his possessions, left him by the side of the road. He was so badly hurt that he might have died. Other people came down the road too, and they saw him. First came a religious leader, like a pastor. But when he got close enough to see the injured man, he crossed to the other side of the road and kept going. Then came another person, someone known for being holy, a leader in the church, kind of like a church council member. But he also got close enough to see and crossed the road and left the man where he was. But then a Samaritan came by, a man that most of the people in Israel would consider to be an outsider, a traitor, someone outside the compassion and love of God. He came along and saw the man and his troubles. He came closer. He treated the man's wounds, wrapped them up with bandages. He lifted the man up onto his own animal and took him to an inn nearby where he stayed with him at that night. And then the next morning he paid the innkeeper and he said, take good care of this man. If it costs more than this that I'm giving you, I'll pay you the rest when I come back through. So Jesus paused with his story and asked the man who had been asking the questions, so what do you think? Which of these 3 was a neighbor to the man who was attacked? And the answer was the one who showed compassion. And Jesus said, you do the same. You go. You be the neighbor who helps those in need. The powerful, powerful gift of compassion, to see hurt, trouble around us, and to try and help, do the best that we can. Have you ever been helped when you've been sick? When you've been afraid? When you felt alone? Who was it that showed compassion to you in your time of need? And how did that feel? And imagine how it feels if we too can show compassion and respond to the needs of those who dwell in darkness. The Samaritan showed compassion. Let's try and do the same. Have a great day.